Welcome everyone to the Tojo Dojo channel. If you've come and seen us before, thanks for stopping by again. And if not, make sure to like and subscribe and all the normal YouTube stuff. So today's gonna be something a little bit different, and it's gonna be the start of a project that I'm working on that I wanted to share with all of you and kind of give you my thoughts along the way, and hopefully maybe even inspire you to try something similar if you're able to. So to give a little bit of background first, when I was growing up, one of the kind of favorite genres, I guess you could call it, of video games that I really loved were the ones where you would use peripherals like light guns and fishing rods and steering wheels and all those sorts of goofy things. And yeah, some of them might be considered gimmicky a little bit. I really enjoyed some of that stuff, and I felt like it was really, especially Sega, was trying to kind of push that interactivity sort of to the next level. And so my favorite out of all of those was the light gun arcade games. So things like House of the Dead and Virtua Cop and like Point Blank and Time Crisis and all those crazy, like Silent Scope, all those different types of gun games. And anytime I would go to the arcades, I would always go to those ones because I had a blast with them. And like I said, I feel like Sega really nailed that genre, and I always had a blast with those. And so of course, when they eventually made their way to the home market, I was like, well, yeah, of course I'm gonna buy those for those consoles. And like I said, I had House of the Dead and Time Crisis and all that sort of stuff. And so at that time, I of course thought, well, surely this stuff isn't going to go away, right? I mean, this stuff is going to last forever because it's just so interactive, and it's replicating the arcade. Like, nothing's ever going to beat this. And fast forward to 2021, and that stuff really doesn't exist anymore, to be honest. And you could say to an extent it does, like you have motion controls kind of like the Wii, or even the Switch sort of has that now. And if you really wanted to, say how it got to the next level, you of course have VR, where you're like really interactive. And don't get me wrong, I love that stuff, and I even have an Oculus Rift myself. But there's still something about that old school 90s, 2000s light gun arcade feel that I feel like doesn't really exist anymore, which is a shame because those games are super, super fun. So, not long ago, I kind of started thinking to myself, I kind of want to see if I can easily bring that back and have a good modern setup for it. And if you're familiar with light guns of that kind of PS2, Xbox, Dreamcast, GameCube era, you probably already know the plight of trying to get those to work, which is that those light guns don't work with modern like HD TVs and 4K TVs and stuff like that. They only work with CRT televisions or cathode ray tube TVs that are those big, freaking 800-pounders that you have to lug around, that people have been throwing away for the better part of a decade, basically. So if I wanted to be honest, I could probably find one of those TVs relatively easily, break out my systems that I already have set up just in my living room, like my Xbox and my Dreamcast, and just put it in a corner and just hook it up when I want to play, which, if that's all you want to do, not a big deal. But like I said, I kind of wanted to recreate that arcade feel and make a really solid project out of it. So that's why I'm starting that as of today, March 4th, I believe, 2021. And this is going to be the first of a series of multiple videos. And I don't know if this is going to be maybe a month, 2 months, 5 months. I have no idea. It's going to I'm going to be at the whim of whatever I'm kind of finding online to start assembling and building this thing. So kind of what I have in mind is, at a minimum, an arcade cabinet, whether it's hollowed out or I have to remove the guts myself, a monitor or a CRT television that I'll have to put in. I want to get, even though I have an Xbox and a Dreamcast, like I mentioned, I want to get just another one just to place in this cabinet so I'm not lugging them back and forth. So, just a self-contained kind of cabinet with some AV cord switchers. So all I got to do is just pop the game in and press go. And I'm a big original hardware fan. I don't really want to do emulation either. And then of course I'll have the multiple guns that I'll get for the Dreamcast and Xbox, and maybe even a PS2 or something like that. And I'll have different holsters. You have the original artwork, or not even original, but just some form of artwork along the arcade cabinet. I really want this to be a really solid project that I'm proud of, and something that I could go up to, get a beer, go up, put in House of the Dead or Virtual Cop or whatever, press go, and start blasting away, basically. So that's my ultimate goal. I think at a minimum, a realistic expectation is probably going to be about 500 bucks for like some systems, a cabinet, TV, but I mean, I really got to get lucky, of course, too, especially with the cabinet and the TV. And then if I really wanted to go nuts with, you know, probably hundreds of more dollars I could spend on sounds and lights and custom artwork and more games and all that sort of stuff. But for this, kind of my first goal is, like I said, to get that bare bones working nice setup, essentially. And so I wanted to make this video series not just for myself to document how I did it, but for all of you to watch as well, in case you want to do something similar, or at the very least know kind of my, you know, process along the way, the pros, the cons, the hiccups that I face along the way, and, you know, maybe even inspire you, like I said, to do it yourself if you really felt so inclined. But then also, as I'm making it and going along the way, if you guys have any tips or things I should do, shouldn't do, if you've done something similar, I'm all ears. Like, this is the first time I'm doing something like this, so I'm by no means an expert. I'm just trying it and seeing what happens. So, like I said, that's pretty much it. This is the first video. As I mentioned, I have no idea how many more this is going to take, but I hope to update you along the way, and I'm really excited to see how this pans out. And, you know, I can't wait to finish it, and hopefully at least get it in time, done in time for the summer, where you know, maybe we can eventually start having people over at our houses, and you know, I'm excited to do it. So, you know, that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you haven't, whether you have or haven't visited the channel before, make sure, you know, like and subscribe and comment, all this sort of stuff. Let us know down in the comments if you have any thoughts. And yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys next time, and keep an eye out for the next video.